Welcome to today's webinar session. MSM Campus Connect presents Study Abroad Testimonials, whereby you will be learning about the expectations, experiences, opportunities from current and former students. My name is Titus Suter. I'm the MSM GMO Country Manager for Kenya. As a former international student, I am excited to moderate this webinar, having studied my master's in the Netherlands and Poland under the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. M-Square Media is a leading education service provider. We work with colleges and the universities to recruit more international students to our partner institutions. The objective of the MSM Campus Connect webinar series is to discover how studying abroad can open a wall of new possibilities with benefits which can be felt at personal, family, community, national, regional, or global level. So today's webinar is happening with one of our first speaker, who is Janet. She's a student in the UK. She's a Chevening scholar studying at the University of East Anglia, studying Master of Arts in Media and International Development. As a media for development professional, Janet has an interest in journalism, sustainability for advancement of the Sustainable Development Goals. I wish to appreciate Janet for taking this opportunity to be our first speaker within the short notice, and to congratulate her for winning the highly prestigious Chevening Scholarship to study in the UK. As MSM, we are proud of your great achievement. Janet, we look forward to your testimonials, expectations, experiences, and opportunities. So you can use the Q&A session to ask any questions. After the presentation, you can ask any questions to Janet and she will be able to respond to your questions. So Janet, the floor is yours. Our first question to Janet will be, why did you opt to study abroad? What are your top 3 reasons for wanting to study abroad? Why not Kenya? Why did you decide to go to the UK?
Okay, thank you so much, Titus. Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be in such a forum where I'm talking about international education, because we all know that education is one of the keys to unlocking, to advancing the sustainable goals, and also to unlocking someone's dreams and future. Because without education, we've all had it from our parents and the people who've gone ahead of us, that education is the key to advancing our ambition. So the first question, why I opted to study abroad, is because I'm a person who is very passionate about wanting to see the other part of the world and wanting to see how different communities live, how different societies live, how things happen in the other part of the world. So that was one of the major motivations, that I realized that if I do my undergraduate in Kenya and I do my postgrad in Kenya, then my way of thinking and my way of viewing things will be very, very limited, because I'll only have the Kenyan experience. But if I opt to study in a different country, in a multicultural country, where I can get to meet people from basically anywhere, like where I can get to interact with students from the Caribbean, where I can get to interact with students from Southeast Asia, and get to interact with students from some of the countries that I just used to see in the map as a little girl, then my way of thinking and my way of viewing things will be completely different. So that was one of the reasons for wanting to study abroad. Also, I wanted to see a different way of thinking, because I have one of my friends who is a former Chevening scholar who studied at Cardiff University, And he had told me that studying abroad and studying specifically in the UK, it's not like studying in Kenya, because the method of education delivery is more oriented on critical thinking and how you can apply the knowledge to solve modern problems, or to solve the issues that are being faced in your society and in your career. And that really motivated me to want to experience how to want to get that experience of studying abroad. Okay. The other reason is I'm a person who likes traveling. So yeah, that was another reason why I wanted to study abroad away from Kenya. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much. The second question is, when did you first start dreaming of studying abroad, and what inspired or influenced your decision?
I was inspired to go study abroad. I think it was 10 years ago when I finished my high school, because my dad took me. My dad is also a person who really wanted his daughters or his kids to have the international experience of life. So my dad took me. I remember after high school, in between that period where you've cleared high school and you're waiting to go to university back in Kenya. My dad took me to the Alliance Française to study French, and also took me to the German Cultural Center on Loika Street to study some German. So I was studying 2 foreign languages, which is not easy. And based on the studying and based on the case studies we were having, I thought, I think it's not a bad idea to go study abroad. But I was unable to go study abroad for my undergrad. So I made a decision that for my postgrad, I would like to go study abroad, because based I wanted to go to a different country. That's where my motivation to go to a different country, to go to a different society came from. My first choice to go study abroad was France, but I was not able to actualize my dream of going to study in France. Here I am in the UK, which I'm really grateful. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Maybe after your undergraduate studies, how long did you apply for your master's before you finally studied abroad?
After my undergrad, I remember immediately after graduating, I tried to apply for a scholarship offered by the French government. I said France was my first country, because as a person who has always wanted to work in international development, I wanted to learn I wanted to be fluent in the 2 languages that are spoken in majority of the African countries. So that's French and English, because we have Francophone, we have Lusophone, and we have Anglophone Africa. So I wanted to study in France so that I would be able to work either in Francophone or in Anglophone Africa. But I was not successful. I did not manage to get that scholarship, because it's also highly competitive. So what I did is that after that, I started working as definitely a journalist. I worked for a radio station known as Baraka FM, which is in Mombasa. I also worked as a correspondent for the German press agency, which is a newswire headquartered in Germany. And through my career, I started noticing things that I would like to change as a person, especially in regards to development issues. I started noticing how media coverage of climate change and how it's impacting on issues is not being given the coverage it deserves, because we will get to see journalists talking about floods, we will get to see journalists talking about landslides, we will get to see journalists talking about desert locusts, but we are not going to get journalists talking about telling the people that what is really causing this and what exactly is climate change, educating the people, educating like maybe that woman in maybe rural Tana River County who wants to understand, why do I have to move from my house each and every time it rains because of flood? And I was not doing that 10 years ago. So I really started advocating for the coverage of climate change in a way that's more understandable, that will make the people understand. And through that, after that, I think I started advocating for the coverage of climate change back in 2017. And I attempted to apply for the Chevening scholarship last time in 2017, 2018. But I did my application very hurriedly, so definitely I did not get the scholarship. I knew what I wanted to do when I get the scholarship, but I wrote my essays too fast, and I think it's very competitive, so I was not able to get the scholarship. In 2018, for the 2018-2019 year, I had just taken in more projects on media coverage of climate change, and also had gotten a promotion in my workplace. So I could not be able to apply for the scholarship because I was so busy with my time. Then in 2019, for the 2019-2020 session, I decided I think this is time. So I sat down and because the scholarship window opens for 3 months, I sat down and started writing my essays, and also contacted some Chevening alumni and told them to really give me tips on how write essays that are going to be award-winning essays for the scholarship. So I worked on my essays for 3 months. I submitted my essays in towards the end of October 2019, just before the deadline, because the deadline is usually on the first week of November. And I was shortlisted in February 2019, went for an interview, and I got the announcement that I had been selected for the scholarship in June 2020. That was 6 days before my 29th started. Yeah. So that's my basic timeline with wanting to study abroad.
Wow. I can see a lot of resilience. Next question is maybe concerning climate change. Have you participated in any of the COP conferences?
I have participated virtually, and I'm watching the negotiation. Yeah, there are some of the things definitely. I've never been able to go to an actual COP conference because I was supposed to go to the COP conference, the one that was supposed to be held in Chile in 2019, but was cancelled because of the political instability that was in Chile at the time. So people had to hurriedly get visas to go to Madrid, which I was not able to get on time. But definitely, this was one of my motivations. Even during the interview, I told the panel that I know the next COP will be held in Glasgow, which is in the United Kingdom. But unfortunately, because of the restrictions with COVID, the number of observers that have been allowed at the COP are very limited because of course, we are still in the middle of a pandemic. But I'm following some of the sessions virtually, and to me, it's an experience like no other. Yeah, that's one of the advantages of studying abroad, because I would have not been able to probably examine Kenya.
Okay. Yeah. Next question is, what was your expectation before going to the UK and your actual experience, especially with COVID?
Definitely, because of COVID, understandably, my experience has been much more different from what I expected, because I was used to the traditional mode of learning back in Kenya, where you walk into a lecture hall and you talk to, and you get to speak to a lecturer, gets you to sit down and you speak. But because of COVID, it has been our year has been much more virtual. We've had a number of face-to-face sessions, especially last year when we passed live for our first semester. So I expected much more face-to-face sessions. Yeah. But clearly, I think I had underestimated the impact of the COVID pandemic. And also, it was much more difficult to get face-to-face sessions for us, because I remember towards the end of December last year or January this year, that's when we had the first mutation of the COVID virus. And it was located, the first mutation was first noticed in a city not far from where I study. So yeah, definitely they had to put in more restrictions. But nevertheless, I'm grateful for the opportunity, because you never know. I mean, doing things in a virtual way might be the future, because even if you look at the memes in the internet of how people have been able to save on flight costs and they can do things just virtually, I think this is just preparing me for what the future will be like.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Next question. how is studying abroad different from studying at home, especially the academic system and the classroom experience?
Studying abroad is, I don't know about other countries, but studying in the UK is completely different from studying in Kenya. Because when I was doing my undergraduate, basically we would get the lecturer coming to class speaking about something, and we would get to write notes, sort of like dictating notes. And at the end of the semester, we would have like sitting exams. Okay, in between the semesters, we would have like parts and assignments which contribute to the final mark. And at the end of the semester, we would do a sitting exam. I have not done a sitting exam for my course. No. The biggest difference it is that studying abroad, you really have to prepare in advance for the lectures, because the lecturer will just send you material and tell you, in the next session, maybe we are going to talk about maybe white saviorism. And we'll send you lots of materials and lots of videos for you to watch. So you have to sit down before the session, do your research on what maybe white saviorism is all about, watch the material that he has talked about, and do your advanced research. So for you to understand what the lecturer is going to talk about, because if you don't get to watch the material that the lecturer is going to send, and if you don't get to do your own research for the lecture, you'll be floating throughout. So studying abroad, there's a way it pushes you to be more, to research more on than expecting to be spoon-fed, okay? Yeah. The other difference between studying abroad is that it's much more, they emphasize on critical thinking, okay? Yeah. You do not go to a lecture or you do not go to a class expecting the lecturer to give you answers to something. You have to formulate answers to some of the problems you see based on how you are understanding of things, because maybe a lecturer will not tell you that this is how we solve the problem of maybe global inequality. A lecturer won't tell you that, but a lecturer will expect you to read, understand the material, understand the different ways of maybe solving global inequality, and look at which of these ways is best applicable to my situation in Kenya. So the method of studying emphasizes more on critical thinking. They won't give you answers like, this is how you do it. No, they'll expect you to study, to understand the course material, and pick from what you've studied in the case studies, which of these can I apply back home? If I apply back home, what will be the advantages and what will be the disadvantages? And if possible, if there is none of these, the examples given, if there is none that can be able to be applicable back home, how can I invent a solution that can fit in to solve the problem back home? So studying abroad is very different. And also for the exams, I know some of my colleagues in different courses, the people we went to uni, they have done sitting exams, but I have not been able to do a sitting exam ever since I arrived in uni, because they emphasize on you trying to solve. So they'll give you like a case study. They'll tell you maybe, or they give you like three questions to an essay. Yeah. Or they ask you to write a project paper. Let's say write a project paper to maybe solve an issue, and you select a country of your choice. So I remember one of the modules I did was on implementing development projects in rural communities. So we were just given an open question, and you had to select like a problem in one of the areas, and you implement a project, write a project paper to implement a project on how you're going to address that issue and the challenges you're going to face. So I picked a problem in Turkana County, and I implemented my own solution. So that's how practical it gets, that you get to decide what you want to do, and you get to apply the knowledge you learned in class on how to solve the problem in your locality. You'll not get someone asking you about maybe an issue in Bangladesh and how you're going to solve it. No. Yeah. So that's how different it has been, because for my undergrad, I used to do a lot of exams. Yeah, but I've not done any exams. I've done more of applicable essays and applicable term papers. Yeah, that's how different it is from studying back in Kenya.
Okay. The next question is about maybe opportunities. Are there opportunities for part-time jobs, internships, volunteer experience?
Yes, there are a lot of opportunities because like for some of my classmates, some of them have got internships with the university. Some of them have been referred for internships elsewhere. There are lots of opportunities for internship. Okay. There are a lot of opportunities to volunteer, either with the university or with adjacent organizations. In the UK, they hold volunteership in they really hold it in high regard because they say this person dedicated their time to volunteer in a certain organization. Then this person is very self-driven, so they hold volunteership in very, very high regard. And part-time jobs, yeah, there are a lot of part-time jobs. Also, your visa as an international student limits you because if they allow you to work, you're only allowed to work for 20 hours. You are not allowed to work for anything over 20 hours a week. So, and for you to work those 20 hours, you are not supposed to work as, let's say, a self-employed person. That's where like you work in an occupation where you're filing your own taxes. No. So you're only allowed to work 20 hours, not anything over 20 hours. If you break those restrictions, you'll find yourself in very, very big problems. And even the home office might not notice that you've worked over 20 hours right now. But when you go, you want to renew your papers, maybe to work, to stay more in the UK, they are definitely going to notice because everyone uses something we call an NI number where if you are to receive any wages, they are supposed to be calculated against the NI number. And your NI number will show that this person is an international student. And this person, on a certain week, they work for over 20 hours. So you don't want to get yourself in such problem. But for jobs, there are jobs. You can be guaranteed there are jobs. Yeah.
Okay. What about maybe postgraduate plans, post-graduation plans? Are there some support you are receiving from your institution?
Definitely. I have received a lot of support from my postgraduate, my institution. Number one being to attend a lot of events, networking events. Like I remember in February this year, no, in the first week of January, before we started our semester, we called it a spring semester, but it was during winter. I don't know why they called it the spring semester because half of it was during winter. They had what we call a career week where for our department where we would go and we would meet people who have been to get career advice, and we would meet people we got the opportunity to network with people who have been through the school. For example, my school is a school of international development, and we were able to network with them, and they were able to give us career advice on how to maneuver through when you graduate. I've not yet graduated because I have finished my everything, my coursework. I am to receive my certificate around December, but the graduation ceremony will be held in summer next year, which is July. Yeah. So there have been a lot of support in terms of also helping me in my CV writing, connecting me with some of the organizations that maybe I would like to work for. So there has been a lot of support. And also in terms of they understand that for me, for me to finish my master's degree, at the end of it, I had to write either a dissertation or write a research project with an organization. That's sort of like an internship, but a specific internship where you go there to write a research project that analyzes what you've learned in class and how the organization is applying what you've learned in class and maybe some of the challenges they are facing. For me to get that placement, the university was really much supportive. They trained me a lot because they understood that coming from Kenya, there would be a lot of cultural differences and that. They really supported me a lot, even helping me find an organization that was in line with my goals. So there is a lot of support. And I've had instances where my course advisor, because every the course advisor at the start of when you start your master's degree asked us to introduce ourselves, and he was able to understand like each one of us, which background are we coming from. So I've had 3 instances where my course advisor has sent me open jobs, which he thinks that I am qualified to apply, and they do that a lot to other students. So there has been a lot of support, and yeah, there has been a lot of support.
Okay. So just a reminder, if you have any question, you can type your questions at the Q&A section. Next question, what do you consider as your #1 advantage of studying abroad so far? And how do you intend to give back to the society upon your return, especially now that you'll be required to come back after your studies?
My #1 advantage of studying abroad is, like I said, getting to see the world in a different angle. Okay, because getting to see the world in a different angle and getting to study in a different way. Because, like I said, the kind of the mode of education delivery here in the UK is more based on critical thinking and problem solving and improving your problem solving skills. So that has been one of the biggest advantages for me, because I'll get to the workplace not as a person who is there to download what I learned in class, but rather to apply what I learned in class. So that to me is the biggest advantage, because I think the world needs problem solvers, not people who are applying existing modes of not people who are applying existing theories that are already not working in some instances. So to me, that has been the biggest advantage. And also, I think with my experience, I'll be able to work in a multicultural environment, because I'll be able to be wary of what to say, what not to say, how to understand different people. Yes, to me, that has been the biggest advantage. So if someone took me here and took me to a place like New York to work, I would fit in, because I've been able to see the world in a different way, and I'm able to understand people in the different ways they come, the different areas they come from, what they like, what they don't like. Yeah.
What about maybe your plans to give back, or maybe to become a problem solver? Which problem are you going to solve? Is it climate change or something else?
Yeah, in part climate change, but like I said, like you introduced me earlier, I'm more interested in journalism sustainability for the advancement of the SDGs. What that means is that we've seen media houses closing down because of definitely the revenue media houses is reducing because of other things, because of partly economic factors. We have social factors, and we have, of course, change in technology. So how I intend to solve the problem is that I intend to work with organizations that are, or put proposals to organizations, because we have a lot of organizations that do go train journalists and media houses on maybe how to report on COVID-19, how to report on climate change, how to report on maybe tropical diseases, neglected tropical diseases, but we have no one talking about how journalism is becoming more and more unsustainable, and that is threatening the freedom of speech. So some of those things that you get to hear journalists talking about, you will not get to hear them talking about maybe in the next 7 years or so, because journalism is becoming more and more unsustainable due to economic factors and other factors. So I'm more interested in implementing projects that promote the sustainability of journalism, either through financially, either through education-wise, and either through talking to government and pushing for the freedom of speech. Because when you talk about the freedom of speech, it's a very broad term. When we do not have, maybe when radio stations are closed down because they are not able to operate due to economic factors, that is also a blow to freedom of speech and a blow to independent media. So that's what I would like to work on basically when I come to Kenya.
Finally, any advice do you have for prospective students, those who are considering studying abroad?
I would tell students to go for it. If you're thinking of studying abroad, go for it. And also do a lot of research on the kind of course you would like to take. Because I know some people who we were in the same class, because like I said before, the courses here are very direct. Like they're very, if you're speaking about journalism and international development or media and international development, do not, the thing with Kenya is that the courses are very, they cover a whole lot more. So you might get into a journalism class and learn about filmmaking or something which is totally different. Here they are very, very specific. If you want to study filmmaking, go for it. If you want to study, let's say, biomedicine, go for it, because go for the specific course you would like to. Do not go for a certain course expecting that you're going to get another sub course in there. Not unless you check, and also check the course content on the internet. Most universities post their course content on the internet. Check, do your research. Is this what you want to do? Look at the modules they are offering. Is this what you want to do? Are these the modules you would like to have understood after your time of study has elapsed? Also, check the city you would like to go to. Do not apply to study abroad because it's just the opportunity. Go about the city you would like to go to. Is it close to maybe some of your goals and some of your interests? Like for me, I'm a person who is really, really much interested in literature, and the city where I study in is known as Norwich. Is known as the city of the UNESCO City of Literature. So there is lots of authors that do come from Norwich. I was interested in that. So that was one of the reasons why I settled for this specific university. And also we have like I mentioned earlier, I had lived almost my entire life in Mombasa. So I was interested in going to a city that's near the sea. And the reason why I did that is because my city is not really far from the seaside. So go for it. Do a lot of research. Do a lot of research. And also just know that it's going to be very different. It's not what you're accustomed to, maybe in Kenya or whatever country you come from. It's very different. So do a lot of research. Yeah. And yeah, but everything is going to fall into place.
Yeah. Okay.
Do a lot of research on the travel cost and all that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. So now we will go quickly to the question and answer session. Is there any question? Anybody with a question, you can type in your Q&A session. So at the moment, it looks like we do not have any question on the Q&A session. So if anybody else, you still have some questions, you can type your questions. So in the meantime, we are going to ask Janet maybe to make your closing remarks before we can discuss the benefits of international education.
Yeah.
Your closing remarks?
I have even seen, I don't know why someone's microphone is on somewhere in the hall. I've seen where you said about the facilities in the hall. I forgot to mention about that. Most of the institutions have a lot of facilities for you to take advantage of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the university I attended, there is lots of facilities for you to take advantage of and a lot of clubs for you to join. So you will never feel as if you're alone, not unless you're a very introverted person. And there's lots of facilities for you to take advantage of. So you can expect all the resources at your disposal for you to be successful. Not unless you go to study abroad with a mindset that I don't want to be successful, or I just want to study abroad for the sake of it. But when it comes to education and all the support, you they have putting all the resources at your disposal to ensure that, number one, you are successful as a student and useful to the society. And number two, you enjoy your life as a student. Okay. Yeah. So there is a lot of resources at your disposal for to solve every aspect of maybe some of the challenges you might face. Maybe as a new student in a new country, definitely um, you'll feel homesick and you feel disoriented from your new environment. But the universities, like the university I attended, they were very, very supportive of us, especially during the COVID pandemic, because it was really difficult for us as international students. We're in a new country and it's in the midst of a lockdown. So it was really mentally frustrating for most of us, but they really offered all the support they could. So you can expect all the materials at your disposal to ensure that you are successful. Yeah, that's I think my parting shot. Not unless anyone has any. Also, the establish new and global connections. That is very, very true, because you get to talk to people, and in the future you can get to talk to them. Like, you have a friend in, let's say, Brazil, and you know what they are working on, and they can connect you maybe to an organization that maybe wants to establish itself in Kenya. Or you have a friend who is maybe, let's say, from uh, Belize, or let's say Antigua and Barbuda, which is in the Caribbean, and you can get to see some of the projects they are working on, and you will get to establish an international connection where you can rely on maybe when you want to go to such country, and they are able to advise you. Okay, so that's the one advantage. The other advantage of studying abroad, and you are able to create a network, a huge network where you can get to tap on in case you need something. So the networking bit, I think, having an international education, many people do not really talk about the advantages of having a strong network, because with that strong network, you're going to get to learn about opportunities, and you're going to get to learn about maybe some issues that you would not benefit if you were not part of an international network. So that's the other advantage.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I think we appreciate your time. We appreciate your sharing your ideas, your experiences, and we look forward to more connecting in the future. So we'll do some follow-up after the session.
Yes, thank you so much. In case anyone has a follow-up question, I'm sorry I have to leave the session. So in case anyone has a follow-up question and would like to answer, you can follow me on LinkedIn. My name is Murikira Njung'e on LinkedIn. That's my two names, not Janet, the other two names. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Or alternatively, you can front the questions to Titus, and he's going to forward them to me, and I'll be in a position to answer them. Alternatively, if anyone wants to study in the university I attended, which is the University of East Anglia in Norwich, which is in the east of England, maybe you can catch up with me on LinkedIn, and I am going to be able to offer specific advice about the institution, not specific advice on the course, because I cannot do that, because you're the person who understands what you want to do and where you want to be in life. And I would be in a position to advise you in a way that you are able to make a conscious decision.
Okay. Thank you so much, Janet.
You're very much welcome, and have a lovely session, guys.
Okay, all the best. Okay, so next we discuss about the benefits of international education based on Janet experience. And as you have seen, the first one is the quality of education. You will enjoy quality education abroad, especially with qualified faculty, facilities, very world-class facilities, and then the small classes. You will develop your critical thinking skills, including to become a problem solver. You will be able to establish global connections, and you build your network, which will determine your net worth. Next, you will be able to take your career to the next level. For example, you can start a new career, or you can advance in your present career. Through global education, international education, we also build human capital, which will contribute to nation building. You may also discover your passion and your purpose while studying abroad. So that you will now be driven, instead of making money and profit, you'll be driven by impact and making a difference in the society. For example, when you come back, you can start your new CBO, you can start a social business or non-profit organization. For example, for myself, I went from growing trees. My background was in environment. So I went from growing trees to growing people and re-engineering dreams. That is after discovering my passion and purpose. Next one. Studying abroad, you will be able to improve your leadership skills, including the ability to communicate with more clarity and confidence. Again, you will be able to grow as a person because you will have a lot of time to develop self-awareness and personal mastery so that you'll become an expert in your field of study. You may also achieve self-actualization, whereby studying abroad, you'll be able to realize your full potential and you become who you were meant to be. This way, you'll be able to change the world. Next, you'll become more humble. Studying abroad will teach you humility because you will discover there's so much that you do not know. As a result, you'll become a student of life, which means you'll start embracing lifelong learning. You'll continue learning on a daily basis. Again, studying abroad, you'll be able to work, as you have seen, you'll be able to work during your studies, and then also after your studies, especially if you are not on a scholarship which requires you to come back. So you can continue to work abroad. Maybe you can get a postgraduate work permit. You can continue with your studies. If you were studying undergraduate, you can go for masters. If you are studying for masters, you can go for a PhD. You can also get a permanent residence in some countries. So my conclusion is to talk about M Square Media, whereby we make your dream to study abroad to become a reality. So we will be able to support you in every step of the way. We have our partner institution, MSM partner institutions in Canada, in US, Ireland, and New Zealand, and other countries, including UK and Australia, whereby you can follow your studies. Our mission at MSM is to make international education accessible to all. For example, you do not have to wait until you secure a scholarship for you to go abroad. Like currently, we have opportunities open for January 2022 intake, February 2022 intake, May 2022, and September 2022. So you can also go abroad as a self-funded student. We have our MSM Unified platform, where you will be able to have all the resources. You will be able to have all the resources that you need to study abroad. This is a platform for prospective international students, whereby you will get all the information that you're looking for. For example, if you are looking for a specific program, you can search through the MSM Unify and you get the program that you're looking for. If you are looking for a specific institution to study in Canada, for example, or United States, you just look at the United States and you get all the top institutions under our platform. If you want also some resources on how to study abroad, including articles, just go to MSM Unify and you get all the resources at your disposal. Again, at MSM Unify, you can get additional information on accommodation. And if you are looking for a loan as a self-sponsored student, you can get resources for loans. And then also, if you are looking for a scholarship, you can get resources on scholarships and even how to make your payment, paying for your tuition, and then also internship opportunities. If you are looking for an internship, MSM Unify is your one-stop shop. It does everything you will need under one roof. So I'll invite you to check out today by visiting their website, the msmunify.com website. Closing remarks, we'll be having this session on a weekly basis. So this was our first session. Our next session again will be next week on Thursday at the same time. Let me now check again. If you have any question, you can type again in your Q&A session so that I can check, I can respond to all your questions. If there are no questions, this is how you can connect with us. You can connect with us at MSM. You can see my name is Titus Suter. I'm the country manager for Kenya at MSM Global Marketing Office. So that's my email address. You can email me. And then also you can email info@msquaremedia.com for any general inquiries. You can also reach out on, some of you who already have my WhatsApp number, you can WhatsApp me, you can reach me also on WhatsApp. So maybe I'll invite any of my team members with closing remarks that they can say something before we end the session. So if there are no questions, I wish to thank you again for joining this session, and I look forward to seeing you in our next session when we shall be having different speakers sharing their experiences. Thank you so much. Emma Muindi, is there any question? You can type your question.
Titus, we have allowed Emma to talk. Emma, if you want to ask your question directly, you can unmute yourself and ask the question directly.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Emma. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I was actually typing my remark. I don't have a question. Mine is to thank MSM for giving this opportunity to many of our Kenyans and making the education application for overseas institutions quite an easier way in which the students are able to realize their dreams of studying abroad. So just wanted to say thank you so much. I work for an agency called Relage International that is based in Kenya, and we've really been collaborating in this process with MSM under the guidance of you, Titus. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Emma. So we have a number of partner agents that we work closely with in Kenya. Some of them are in Nairobi, some of them are in Eldoret, some are in Mombasa, some have their country offices in other countries. So we work closely with our partner agents. If you are a prospective student, you can just walk to any of our agents, or you can reach out to us and we'll be able to refer to you to some of our agents wherever you are. I can see at the time we still have a few minutes. Anybody with any burning question that we can respond to before we end the session? Yes, I can see there is one question. I see, since we do not have any questions, so we just want to appreciate those who made it to today's session. And we look forward to connecting after the session, and we look forward to more engagement in the next session. Thank you so much.